Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chilparco International's Kryptonite show. And today I have with me this wonderful, absolutely gorgeous woman. Now, don't go by the fact that she's so young. She is the founder and director of Dream Achievers. She is a counselor, and you know how much we need counselors these days. And she is a certified POSH practitioner, in addition to being brand ambassadors and being part of several organizations, including Chilparco International, as the wellness counselor and coach, life skills, which is again needed. Well, a big welcome to you, dearest Sonia. How are you doing today?
Very well, ma'am. Thank you for such a beautiful introduction, ma'am. It's really very nice to hear
you
good about
it,
ourselves.
my dear, for the kind of work that you're doing, you know, round the clock, 24/7. You surely and truly deserve it. By the way, this show, ladies and gentlemen, is about the success dynamics of the educators and lifelong learners. Not to say that the educators say that, okay, learning stops. No, it doesn't. It goes on, and this is what we propagate. We spread smiles, we enhance the self-worth of an individual, and by insisting and enhancing the fact that each and every individual is unique, unstoppable, unbeatable. And we bring the global community together through humanitarianism with a focus on the 21st century skills of communication, collaborations, connection, and most important, care. And Sonia, I can see, is smiling at that because care, compassion is what the global community need a whole lot. So, well, let's begin. First of all, Sonia, tell us, for how long have you been in this field of, looking after the mental health of people?
It's actually, ma'am, the time I started teaching. I was a class teacher of third standard when I started into education sector. So that was an age where, children really needed a lot of nurture, care, because we used to have too many hyperactive children in the class.
As a class teacher,
we used to have that responsibility. Okay, this group is such, they don't sit in a place. They keep mingling around with things, get their work complete. So slowly we were sinking into that. And then we also had 2 to 3 special need children, who were not very well mentally. Yes. So they also needed some help. So we had a mixture of it in the class. And I think at that time, those are challenges. But today, when I think back, I feel that was a great learning for me, because when I used to sit with them or, involve in interactions with them and, try to change them with their behaviors, I've learned a lot from that.
I'm sure. But I guess that was the time which, actually dawned upon you that this is the area that you're passionate about. And you realize that every individual, be it a little kid or be it a grown-up, everybody needs that care. Everybody needs that compassion. Everybody needs that nurturing in order to blossom, Of late, we have been seeing the news and hearing the news and reading the newspapers, and otherwise also it's all over the place about this mental depression. And just recently we heard about that student, who was suffering from depression. What I just realized, when I was just reading on this topic, that depression ranks as the single largest contributor to global disability. And 280 million people globally, 1 in 20 Indians suffers from depression, and 1 in 7 teenager or children, from the age group of 15 to 24 years are also suffering from this, from depression. What do you think, how can we address the problem of depression and the stigma of depression? And what do you feel is the root cause which needs to be completely eliminated?
Ma'am, depression, anxiety are certain things which we really need to work on. It's really a very sensitive topic that we are talking about. Now, when we are thinking about the root cause of depression, there could be anything. It could be due to some problems with the family. The parents are not getting along. It could be the stress of scoring more marks, high expectations from the teachers, school management, and the parents. Sometimes the child is not able to speak out properly, express himself. That could take him into depression. There are many things. So to get into that root cause is very difficult, because we need to break the ice with the child first. We need to create a rapport with the child. We cannot dominate a child. We cannot have rules and regulations. We cannot order him to do things. We need to make an aura with him, a positive
You're so
environment
right.
with him.
But here I would like to interrupt you, dearest. Tell me, I mean, you said that there shouldn't be rules and regulations at times, but what do we do when the authorities insist upon following rules and regulations and following things in that spirit of rigid, that they're very rigid about following rules, and it has to be followed at all costs. So how do you explain it to the organizations, the authorities and the schools when these kind of cases crop up? I know as a counselor, your role is one which demands a lot of patience and perseverance from your part. So how do you do it?
Yes, ma'am. 90% of the time we have to really bow down, because they're very rigid. Right. As you said, the school management does what they have to do. If they don't do it, there are consequences. It is our duty to bring forward the consequences. I will not mention the school. I will not mention the student. I'll not mention anything. But this is recently that I came across. A student in the class was told that you haven't performed well. And I don't think so you'll pass this time. This term. This UP.
Oh, yes. This happened
you
recently.
Won't believe it. Yes. You won't believe it, ma'am. The child went into a shell and he committed suicide.
Absolutely. This is so sad. I mean,
now, when the results came, the child had scored brilliant marks.
So what do you think would have been the reason? Was it that the teacher's pressure that she had to give maximum?
Yes, of course.
It was the teacher.
But will that teacher take it to herself? Will she take the responsibility? She spoke to the child in this way that he thought about such an extreme step. Now, could be something else also bothering him behind his mind.
Right.
But triggered it out. It was like, there was, हम कभी-कभी एक पटाखा देखते हैं ना, छोटी-छोटी चिंगारी होती है उसमें, लेकिन वो जलता नहीं है, ब्लास्ट नहीं होता, लेकिन जब हम उसके आसपास तीली घुमा देते हैं आग की, तो वो एकदम से ब्लास्ट कर देता है. तो इसके साथ भी ऐसा ही कुछ हुआ होगा, कुछ ना कुछ उसके दिमाग में चल रहा होगा, कुछ होगा, पर ये चीज ऐसी थी कि उसने सुसाइड कर लिया. Now, when we are talking to a child or to anybody for that matter, we need to be very cautious with the type of words we use. We cannot randomly use any language, body posture or gesture, any kind of communication. We need to be very calculated, and we need to understand that maybe the other person is not in the frame of mind to understand what we are trying to tell him. So we need to give him that much of time at least. Break the nut, to break the shell and come out of it. We cannot expect it. Even, when we talk about depression, it's not only the teens or, the young adults, even the elders, people, our parents at home, our grandparents, they also go through a lot of depression. And the cause for the depression is, the loneliness they have.
Yes, everybody is waging their own battles, my dear.
Yes.
I know, I can understand. Everybody has their own battles to fight against, to wage. But how they deal with it, that attitude, that is why, like you said, the way we speak to a person. I mean, communication, that is why, we insist at Chilparco International, like, on communication. Why? And that to positive communication. How you say something to enhance the best out of the person is what is most important. I mean, we need to encourage one another. We need to be one another's support systems. I mean, if we need to see a happy, healthy, prosperous world, then we need to spread smiles. But if every other person is suffering from depression, then it really becomes difficult. So I guess all of us, we need to develop this power of positive communication, how to say a same thing in a way that it doesn't hurt the other person takes it positively and learns from it and tries to evolve and grow. I think this is, from what you said, this is what I gathered. And yes, you were
Yes.
that teacher's words to that child. I mean, I think it was doing the rounds in WhatsApp groups as WhatsApp messages. And it was so disheartening to read it. I mean, one after the other, the same message would pop up. And that in itself was a cause of depression for me, at least. When I see that young kids who are the future of the nation, of the global community being, uh, targets of depression. Having said this, I want to know from you, my dearest, that what do you feel are the qualities of a good counselor in an educational institution? Because see, I feel one thing that I feel is once, not many years back, but, I met this counselor and she didn't know that I myself was a psychotherapist, but she was trying to give me some advice. But when I was actually listening, no, it's okay because we learn from one another. But what I noticed was that she herself was suffering from insecurity. Because for everything that she was saying, I do this, I am like that, I don't believe in this. No, they say, go to this so and so person and everything will be okay. There was too much of that I, me, myself syndrome. I think she was suffering from extreme high, superiority complex, and also extreme feelings of, the word that I used was, that she was feeling insecure. And that is why she was feeling the way she was. So, what do you think are the traits that counselors in schools and colleges should have? Because it's very important that they themselves have a balanced mindset and they appear calm and they're sweet and they don't, like this teacher, she was highly biased. So they shouldn't have biases and they shouldn't, also try to put the blame on someone else for something that they have done, just to gain a lot of importance with the management at schools. This is happening. So how do you answer this question? Because you are a futuristic counselor. So tell me.
Ma'am, the qualities that a counselor should have. First of all, she should be empathetic. She should be empathetic, not sympathetic.
Okay.
She should be observer. She should not be a judge. She should not give judgments. She cannot pass a judgment. She cannot tag students with taglines. She needs to observe them, make notes on them, try to go into the depth of it. Why did he do that? Was there any reason for it? Build a, she should build a connection with her students.
Absolutely.
That is more important. This is how a counselor needs to be. She should be a listener. She should be a good listener. She should be a person whom the child can, or the client, or the subject, as we say in a psychological language term, should confide in her, should feel comfortable with her to talk about anything, everything. The minute the subject looks at her, he should pour out all the thing that is there worrying him inside. That is what a counselor should be.
Yeah, and I think a counselor themselves should be very, calm and not be, having their own battles. Because see, everyone goes through them. We're all human beings. I mean, there could be some days I'm also feeling depressed and, not in my element. I think it's important that on those days, a counselor does not try to counsel someone. Maybe they can just stay away.
Very true.
Because what will happen, like what happened with this woman that I met, highly biased. And, the way she was talking did not seem to me as if any child would really want to confide in her. And in fact, okay, maybe she is a huge hit with the management of the school because maybe, God knows, I mean, we don't want to get into that. But what I'm trying to say is, the way you connect with the young ones, the way you connect with the youngsters, they need us the most at that time. And I think as counselors, it's our duty, like you said, patient listening. We need to be a listener. We need to be empathetic. We need to observe their every word spoken, their every action, because a lot can be said from their body language. And I guess we need to be totally with them to understand. I hope everybody's, making a mark and note on this, because people are watching this, the show, and, whatever you're saying live. Having done all this, I mean, there are loads of issues that we could get into, but I know that from time to time you will be coming on the platform to, when we target a specific problem relating to counseling. But now, since you're a posh practitioner as well, and I know that you're a wonderful one, there's lots, there's a lack of knowledge and a lack of awareness for people at the workplace about this. So my question, I mean, this is, I've been getting so many questions. I've put them down on this piece of paper that I have to be checking it out with you. The first question is, I was asked to ask you that, what does the Indian law say against sexual harassment at the workplace? Also, does non-compliance with this act provisions carry a penalty?
Okay, ma'am, the POSH Act actually is, prevention of women against sexual harassment at their workplace.
Right.
Now, this was introduced in the year 2013, and it came into action after the Bhavri Devi case.
Okay.
She was a tribal woman who fought for the rights of young girls getting married, child marriage and those kind of things. She was fighting the ill out. But the community did not allow her to do all this, and she was gang raped. She was gang raped. She went and complained to the cops. The cops did not take action because the people who were involved in her rape were big people of the high society in the area there. So no action was taken. And then when she came back that night again, her husband was killed in front of her, and she was again gang raped for the second time.
Oh God.
So she went through the hell again. So at that time also, she only had to wait, because now the support that she had, her husband was also not there. They had killed him. So she was helpless. She was clueless. But then there was an NGO which came into picture. They filed a petition in favor of her. They supported her. It took a long time, but she got justice. But they say no, justice delayed is justice denied. It happened with her because she had to face a lot. The struggle that she went through was terrible. She lost her husband. She lost her dignity. Everything was gone by then. But yes, then this act was given, because this came into existence because of that. And now it says that any kind of problem that the lady is facing, it could be verbally, it could be due to some SMS, pictures, porn movies, whatever that is being shared on social media. It could be sharing her photo without her knowledge, any such thing that is disturbing her, bringing her to a discomfort, can be taken ahead for complaint as a sexual harassment, against her. And that the company who has around 10 people working under them, the organization, they need to have an internal committee formed under this act. And that committee takes the complaints ahead, and they have a complete legal procedure to deal with it. So that is how it is done.
Yes, because, lack of awareness is a major concern. People don't even know about it. People don't know that, if there is some kind of a problem happening, they should report about it. Now, even like you said, remarks made, obscene remarks made are very disturbing, especially because they can also lead to depression. You see, when day in and day out, a lady goes to work, and then, she meets this colleague, and there is this kind of, very remarks made, which are very indecent. So, it becomes a lot of problem for her. And she really needs to know how to go about it. So I guess verbal abuse, it's not only about the physical one, but it's also a lot to say about, verbal abuse. So if somebody makes a comment, what do you feel, when people generally comment about, I think, oh, you're really looking very hot in this dress, in this outfit. You should wear long dresses more often. This perfume, really suits you. The fragrance is is very intoxicating. How would you call such remarks? Are these also, I mean, of course, we again need to know about the tone. We need to know about how the woman is feeling, I guess. But what else do you have to add to this, when such kind of...
Ma'am, it is not only the way the tone it was told in, or the way it was told. It also depends on the rapport you share with that other person.
Exactly.
Has that person always been in this good terms with you, and he or she has been commenting on you like
right.
this?
These days,
Like,
it can be
have
he
you
or
been
she.
sharing it? Yeah.
Yes, right.
Is that very often happening among you? So then it's okay. But all of a sudden, out of the blue, somebody comes and tells you, wow, you're so nice in saris. Don't you think you should wear saris? The way he looks at her and comments, the way it is done, that gesture, he or she is blocking the way of the other person, the way they hold hand or say, the way you say, it gives you a vibe of being uncomfortable at that time.
Yes.
Sometimes the same thing, and male friend also tells us, but that doesn't hit us. We're very comfortable the way he passed that comment to us. But in the same thing, when the other person is giving it the same words, it might not be that comfortable to me. So it depends from person to person, the language they use, and how often has been this taken place. Have you taken it before also from the same person with the comfort zone? Have you given him the leverage to do that with you previously? That all has to be taken into consideration.
I see. So this, you would say, falls under indirect harassment, or is that a different term altogether? Or is
Ma'am, it all depends. We can only say if it is false or it is not false once we get into the roots of it. Once we try to understand what intention it was told, how it was told, that only will clear out the picture. That is why in Posh, it is very essential that whatever evidences you have, whatever you speak, you have to give it in writing, because that written evidence is only taken into account. If you have recordings, yes, fine, but the complaint should go in written. It should be written, complaint, and signed. So that is more important.
So everyone, please listen to this carefully. Written, it should be in written on black and white. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Yes. So one more thing, sometimes if harassment at the workplace happens after working hours, then what?
Ma'am, if it is happening after working hours, we need to first analyze whether that was a part of the work that the colleagues were rated over there, or the lady. See, workplace could be anything. Now, for the domestic help who is coming to my house is also a workplace for her. Me going to a client's place is also a workplace for me. So it is actually, if you see, everywhere and anywhere, it is a workplace for somebody or the other, So we need to see the lady with whom this particular incident took place. Was she on duty? Was she assigned any work over there? Did she represent her organization by any chance? Or was she there because of the client that the organization had? And who accompanied her, and why did he accompany? And if that was the case, what made that incident take place over there? We need to go into the depth root of everything. The complete incident is narrated. Based on that, we need to take action. Every word to word is counted, because once if something is spoken, we directly cannot jump to conclusion. Okay, you were at fault, you did it. We need to understand. We need to give an opportunity to the other person also to give his side of the story, her side of the story. So both are given equal opportunity to speak, and based on that, the committee then decides.
Okay, so this is important. Now, you've shared such a lot. So when we form these committees, I mean, what are the essential things, must-haves in order to have a proper Posh committee working completely in action at schools, colleges, educational institutions, and even coaching centers? I think it's important to have it, because parts of people are working there, and we also need to look after their safety. So what are the essential requisites that every organization should have in order to ensure that, this act is well compliant? What are those essential prerequisites?
Ma'am, first of all, if you have more than 10 people working in your organization or your institute or your industry, company, whatever it is, your workplace, you need 10. To have an internal committee registered. Okay,
registered.
You need to have
if there are more than 10,
registered.
10 or more than 10, you have to have it registered.
And in case if you have branches in different cities, states, you need to even have a separate committee for each state. That office will have their own internal committee. One internal committee cannot manage all the branches. It is not possible. So each one has to have their own committee. In case if you have less than 10 people working in your office, then you need to register yourself with the district officer. You need to make a registration over there saying that we have this many number of people working. And then in case if there is a sexual harassment case, it goes directly over there to the DO. So that is how it has to be taken. Now, when we are forming an internal committee, we need to have 5 people in the committee. The senior most presiding officer of the committee is a lady, and the senior most lady of your institution or your organization. She takes it up. The others are like, we need to have people who know the legal law well, in and out. Every legal matter that can come, related to this act, should be well versed with that person. So
can a parent who is maybe from a legal background, can they be, be a part of the committee, a parent of the school or the college, or it has to be someone from the institution?
Ma'am, it has to be somebody, it is from the institute, the lady from the senior most lady who is there, she is the main presiding officer. Apart from that, there are 2 people from the NGO who can join in, who are working towards this welfare of the female and other things, such NGOs, 2 people from there come in. But it is usually preferred that you have people from inside only. That is much better. That is the much better thing, because if a parent is there, then it might cause a problem, because the parent doesn't know the in and out, how the management and the HR works. So parent is an outsider, basically, a totally third party. So that would not be preferred. If you have an internal committee, it is inside, you work inside, because there are less chances that things go out there. Because the committee has to work with all the rules and regulations. They cannot leak out anything. Whatever is spoken among the committee has to remain there. It has to be very confidential. That is there. In case if a case is going on and comes in forward that the committee did not exist in an organization. For example, there was a case study where the organization did not have a internal committee at all. Now, if you do not have an internal committee, you are penalized for it. You need to pay.
This is important, everyone. Please know this.
You need to pay a fine of 50,000 because that was the first mistake. If it is repeated again, even after that first mistake, you don't form an internal committee, and again there's a sexual harassment case coming up, then it is double the amount. And third time, your license has been taken away from you. So you cannot work with that organization anymore. So this is how it goes by.
So I think this is good because, we really need safety and protection. Like you said, no one can work in an atmosphere that is stifled, suffocating, where one person is scared to, and, then your passion, supposing you have a passion, you're not able to give that passion of yours in whatever it is that you're doing. And again, that is what upsets the equilibrium, the mental equilibrium. And that's what causes all the problems that people are facing these days. So I guess all these things should be properly taken into consideration in order to prevent, any kind of mental disturbance. So Sonia, that was wonderful information. I mean, I have so many questions, but I think we can save them for the next time. But yes, before we say goodbye, I would like you to share a Kryptonite message with everyone who is watching the show regarding the talk that we had just today. A Kryptonite message that they should keep in their minds in order to be holistically and mentally absolutely healthy.
Well, the best way to stay mentally healthy, to stay mentally fit, is to stay with a calm and composed mind, to welcome things in a positive way, give a smile, everything that is there. Take the challenges with a smile. believe me, it will not be a challenge anymore for you.
I couldn't agree with you more than that. I mean, I am one person who agrees, who believes that, smiles is something that, can set the world. I don't know. It just makes everyone, it's positive vibes, positive mind, positive life. Everything seems beautiful. And for a moment, one does forget their, problems. See, problems we will have. Life is a roller coaster. But then, yes, with the right kind of attitude, with a happy face, a smile, just look at someone, smile at the person will smile back. I think you get energy to just move on ahead. And you have this feeling of, getting that never say die spirit, and you want to keep trying till the time you succeed. So I think that is what you counselors do, and spread smiles, connect everyone, care for everyone, and, communicate positively with everyone. And it's a beautiful, noble role that you're playing. So thank you so much for spreading smiles. Thank you so much for being on the show today. And thank you so much for always being there for us whenever we need you. With that, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today on the show. If you have more queries, do get in touch. Please write, drop a message or drop a mail at alkamahajan1@gmail.com. And we will definitely get Sonia here so that she can answer your questions. And yes, do stay tuned for another power-packed Kryptonite show coming up very soon next week. Thank you once again. God bless you. Keep shining and keep spreading smiles, my dear. Lots of love.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. Do join us for our shows. Stay happy, stay blessed, and stay safe. Bye-bye.